Good morning, everyone. I'm Mila Falta Gachtin Agadi our Garland Margie Actonio Keep Discovering. It's been a busy summer for everyone on the West Coast, which is of course great, but we also know how challenging it's been, and well done to all of you for getting through it and for giving visitors a great experience. We know that you're all very anxious about the shoulder season, given our dependence for another year predominantly on the domestic market. So this session today is all about how we in Fáilte Ireland are ramping up our Keep Discovering campaign to get as many visitors as we possibly can through your doors. You'll hear today from Niall Tracy, our Director of Marketing, who will bring you through the communications and channels going live over the coming weeks. We also have an extensive digital sales campaign, which Martin Donnelly, our Sales and Distribution Manager, will take you through. And of course, we'll be telling you how to get involved and how you can make the campaign work for your business. So over to Niall now to get things started, and I'll see you again in a little bit.
Thanks, Miriam, and thanks everybody for taking the time to join this webinar as we talk about the Fáilte Ireland's marketing campaigns and plans for the rest of the year. And we've got some exciting new news we want to share with you and some exciting new plans. But actually, before I do though, I just thought I might just take a moment just to share with you and to make you aware of another new campaign that we've only just launched in conjunction with the tourism sector. And actually, that's about tourism careers. So, you know, as many of us know, we know as we've been out and about over the summer, and as you know from your own business, hiring chefs and waiters and cleaners, etc., has been very difficult. So one of the things we need to try and do is kind of like, you know, get more people into the industry, and part of that is kind of helping promote the industry as a great place to work. So working with the different trade bodies across the sector, we've come up with a new campaign really promoting the Tourism Careers.ie website as a place to go for consumers who might be interested in either courses or careers or jobs in tourism. And what we're doing is we have a campaign around with a digital marketing campaign and a radio ad and PR around why tourism and hospitality can be a great job for many, many people. And also a new toolkit to help you and your individual businesses to kind of hopefully make it easier for you to recruit people. It's full of top tips of, you know, how to kind of like, you know, how to kind of like position your own business as a great place to work, and also kind of what kind of different channels you know to use in order to try and find people to kind of join your business. So it's not directly marketing, but it is so important as regards getting the right staff into your business so they can deliver a fantastic experience for your customers. So that campaign is live at the moment. And I should just give you a sense of it. I'm just going to play you the radio ad that's out on the radio at the moment. So I hope you enjoy it. If you could play the radio ad, please.
Tourism is at the heart of Ireland, and we are the pulse. We are the entertainers and explainers, the palate pleasers and the day seizers. We are the wish makers and drink shakers, the birthday singers and the crack bringers. We are the managers, the make it happeners. We are every spill and every thrill, and you can be too. As the country reopens, we need people like you. Visit tourismcareers.ie today and be part of the pulse. Brought to you by Fáilte Ireland.
So that radio ad is going to be on kind of national and local radio, you know, across kind of this September and October. It's also going to be on digital radio like Spotify and TuneIn Radio, etc. And again, always trying to target kind of different people as you try to capture the kind of variety of jobs that are available within the sector, within your business, and also the bit of the energy and the excitement that is actually working into hospitality. So that campaign will run over the next few months, and hopefully that will play its part in trying to kind of ease some of the hiring pressures that many of you are feeling. But of course, listen, you know, we've gone through the summer. Hopefully, for many of you, hopefully we had a good summer and a busy summer, and the cash register has been over nicely. But we all know as once you come to September, October, and the off season, you know, the domestic consumer, the number of them in kind of out there really just fall. So this today's call and webinar is really about trying to bring to life what we're doing as regards to encourage more people to take more breaks over the next few months. So before kind of getting into some of the detail, just a bit of context that I think is actually really interesting. One is around those as we just look back on the summer that has just happened, and you know, and these are just some of the preliminary results because we do track a lot of kind of how consumers are thinking and feeling about travel and how their experience is. Listen, the great news is that actually so many consumers actually had a really great experience over the last few months. So we asked people, did your trip meet your expectations? Was it less than expectations, or did it exceed? And of course, we all want it to exceed. The kind of way we want that to kind of really kind of deliver that kind of like, really very positive experience for people. And across the board, both Wild Atlantic Way and internationally, actually 44% of people said it exceeded their expectations, which is really good news. And coupled with that is just over 40% met expectations, means that was a really good summer. And I think another piece of information which I think was really interesting was that when we asked people would they return, not just to the destination, but the specific accommodation they had in the destination, 89% of people said that they would. So they had a great experience both in a location, but actually also where they stayed, whether it was a B&B, whether it was a guest house, a catering or a hotel. Actually, the accommodation and the experience of it was really positive to say they would come back again. And that's really important for yourselves as you think about your own sales and marketing, and how important it is to continue to target and communicate with people who have already been to your business. Kind of bring them back again, because if they've had a great experience, they are likely to come back again for to repeat it. And speaking of what they're likely to do, one of the other things we do track with people is their intent. So we ask them, like, do you intend to take a break in the next 3 months, the next 6 months, etc.? Actually, 46% of people say they intend to take another break in Ireland in the next 6 months, which is actually a great number. What's interesting though is traditionally, say pre-COVID, if that number of intention was also very close to actual bookings. When people say I intend to go away, generally they did, and they would convert. But since COVID, even though people say they intend to go, many of them actually aren't actually making that final step and making a booking somewhere. And the reason for that, and it's still in there, is uncertainty. Because even though the government, it's great to see that they've announced the new kind of roadmap with more openings, of course, in September and October, people are still quite unsure about what does that really feel like and look like. Still uncertainty about, going back to work and to an office or public transport. And so much uncertainty means that even though people will want to, actually getting them to make that booking is still a big challenge. And one of the implications of that, and I'm sure, listen, we can see it nationally and you can see it in your own business, is this kind of a whole positioning of last minute bookings. So previously people would book 3, 4, 5 weeks in advance, and now booking days in advance, maybe a week in advance. So really short time frame from the decision, okay, let's go, to making a booking, which means actually, you need to be there with your business on your front foot through your own social media channels or wherever in your different marketing channels, reminding people that you're open and you're ready to give them a great experience once they're ready to make a booking. Because you don't know when they're going to make that booking, and it could be today or literally this weekend. And the other, I suppose, interesting thing we're picking up as well is that while the summer was very focused, an awful lot of families obviously traveling around the Wild Atlantic Way and across the country. Actually, the audience that's really picking up, that's definitely growing in their plans to take holidays, is the over 45s. And they were a group that actually were the most cautious when COVID started. Suppose if you think about a lot of the chat across lots of media channels was they were the older you are, the more vulnerable you are, and so they were particularly kind of cautious. But now they've all been, so many of them been vaccinated, and the mood music, if you like, is so much more positive. They're definitely talking about wanting to get away and actually discover different places of Ireland. And to be honest, that's a great audience to have at this time of year, because many of that audience are not constrained by kind of kids and school holidays, etc. They have the freedom and the ability to kind of go away midweek to take long weekends. And so perfect audience for you to target in order to bring into your business. And again, thinking of looking at specifically into Wild Atlantic Way, it's interesting because over the summer when we looked at where did people travel, just over half people of trips by domestic people in Ireland actually went to Wild Atlantic Way. So it was definitely the place to be across the summer. But actually, when we asked people then where do they intend to go for their next trip, it's actually even higher again, which is a really positive sign. But again, not only do people have a great experience when they were in the Wild Atlantic Way over the summer, but even more people are saying they're going to try, they hope to get there now over the next few months. And the other thing that's interesting about the Wild Atlantic Way is actually it appeals to all demographics. So it's to young and old, to families, to groups of friends, to groups of extended family, to couples. And so it means that kind of whatever your type of business is and who you particularly normally focus in on, actually you're in a region that really is actually really appealing to that group. So the question then is, I suppose, that's where we are. What are we doing is, of course, trying to get as much as we can for in this now off season, as to the rest of the year. So what we've done is that when we think of our communication plans and what we're trying to do, it kind of falls into two buckets. One is actually, we realize that people actually instantly don't think of taking a trip. Yes, they think about taking a holiday, and they might, maybe for a particular bank holiday weekend, they traditionally go away. They'll always think, we'll go away for that. So very much creatures of habit. But week in, week out, and they're actually, when they're thinking about what can we do, they think about going to the cinema at the weekend or going shopping or doing something in the garden. They're not thinking about kind of going away for a night. So it's not top of mind. So over the summer, we've been very focused in on trying to try to keep kind of taking a break, be top of mind, try and get as many people as possible to take a break in Ireland. And we've done that through our new Keep Discovering campaign, which is researching phenomenally well. And also which includes both an Ireland ad and of course regional brand ads, including the Wild Atlantic Way. And we've also, of course, this summer, because we supplemented that with support for some of the cities around the country, because they particularly struggled, as they weren't really kind of the classic holiday destination, and there wasn't the overseas visitors that would normally go to the cities. So that campaign has been working really well for us. Great results from it and I'm sure you know it, and you've seen the Wild Atlantic Way ad. But just remind us of that Wild Atlantic Way Keep Discovering ad. I'm going to play now for you, and so if we can play that ad, please.
You might think you know the Wild Atlantic Way, but maybe it's time for a closer look. To feel the rush of crashing waves and chance upon a love story steeped in time. To take to the sea, to see what lies beyond and beyond and beyond. Keep discovering the Wild Atlantic Way.
I do love that ad. I suppose it helps the fact that I live in Sligo, so it's part of so we never get tired of seeing that Wild Atlantic Way ad, indeed. So if that's what we've been doing over the summer, as we look at the rest of the year, actually we need to really now kind of like focus in on actually now converting that into more bookings. So two things we're going to be doing. One is a kind of initial piece around kind of annual leave and encourage people to take annual leave. And then the second element is about actually how do we bring to life those great destinations across the Wild Atlantic Way in order to help really communicate to people about what there is to do and where they should go. Because it's funny, you think people would know Ireland because we all live here, but actually people have a very limited understanding of what there is to do across Donegal and Mayo and Sligo, even in Clare and West Cork. Unless they've been there, they've heard it's great places, but actually we need to reassure them that and bring to life that richness of experience that they can have. That's what we're going to be doing in that destination creation. But first of all, we talk about annual leave, because actually one of the things we've identified, and really in many ways this is the perfect time for it as we get into September towards the end of the year, that an awful lot of people are sitting on annual leave that they haven't taken. Now, in one ways it makes no sense. Like part of people's contract of employment is that they have days to take off. You still get paid for them, but they don't need to work. They can take them. They can, they have some free time from work. And then, and our initial piece of research is saying that like over a third of people we've been interviewing are saying that they don't plan to take. That at the moment, it looks like they won't be taking all their annual leave. In fact, nearly 40% have made no committed plans for their annual leave for the rest of the year. So if people are sitting on annual leave that they may lose come December, now's the time for us to try and get them to actually make decisions of what to do with it. And of course, if you think about it, what's interesting about that is, the first thing they need to do is make a decision they're going to go. Then they've got to kind of contact their boss, the line manager, and say, listen, I want to take off that second week of October or the third week of October or whatever it might be. And then having made the decision about when, of booking that time, next question is, well, what will they do? And, and having been cooped up in people's houses and kitchens for the last 18 months, really the best thing for them to do is to get away from the house, get away from their local environment, and to experience Ireland, experience Wild Atlantic Way, and get to see some of those great destinations. So if we can use annual leave as a bit of a trigger, they don't waste that annual leave. Don't let it slide. Use it. And of course, if you're going to use it, hopefully you're actually going to go away and take a break in Ireland. So to do it, we're going to be partnering with the likes of the media channels. So we're going to try and get articles in newspapers, radio shows, and also partnering with the likes of WeTransfer and LinkedIn. We think it would be great partners because in many ways they're kind of like work type of social media. And so having them with messages about don't waste your annual leave and use it up before the end of the year feels like a great platform for us. And we're also going to be doing some radio. And so we've got a number of radio ads. And so just to give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what one of the ads might sound like, to give you a sense of what the annual leave message is, I'm going to see if we can play the annual leave radio now for us, please. Thank you.
Have you got annual leave days left? What are you waiting for? Don't let them go to waste. Let's just go. Because memories aren't made sitting behind desks. They're waiting for you on the road to nowhere and buried in the sand of familiar beaches. They're in little coffee shops and hanging in museums. They're up high on rooftop bars and hidden deep in limestone caves. They are waiting for you everywhere, in every annual leave day. Let's go and keep discovering Ireland.
Great. So hope you like that. It's I think it's one of those things that actually there's a window between September, October to November when people have those days, they haven't decided what they're going to do with them. And if we can get them to make a decision to use them, and then hopefully make a booking for a place for travel in Ireland, we can help drive sales into your destinations. But as mentioned, once we've kind of got them actually thinking about actually now going to destinations, we need to now kind of bring those destinations to life. And specifically, today what we're trying to do, we're trying to convert that intention that I talked about earlier on to bookings. And we'll do that by showing all there is to discover in the destinations across the country, the joy they can experience if they book it now. So we're really trying to bring those destinations to life. And kind of classic, the world we live in, the classic way to do that, we need to do that across a whole range of channels. Because people don't listen to one thing or do one thing. There are lots of different platforms, lots of different. So you've got to be on TV, we need to be on radio, we do on social, digital, etc. So we're going to be all over people's messages, of course, trying to remind them of what all these fantastic destinations across the country actually look like, feel like, and the amazing experience they can have by going there to now and the end of the year. And specifically in the Wild Atlantic Way, we'll have the Wild Atlantic Way regional content. We saw that ad there a couple of moments ago. But also the new news for between now and the end of the year is we're also going to have specific content for every county along the Wild Atlantic Way. So from Donegal and Sligo right down to kind of Cork and Kerry and all the counties in between. And the reason we wanted to do this was we really wanted to bring us the richness of the experiences of life across the region. And what's exciting about it is that what we do know is that people are willing to travel for about 2 hours in order to get to a destination for a short break. So it's really hard to get people in Wexford to travel all the way to Donegal, or people from Belfast to go all the way down to Cork, because it's such a long distance to travel. But if you can geo-target your messages about Donegal to people in Tyrone and Fermanagh and Sligo and Longford, that's all easy access to Donegal. While in Cork, it's people in Waterford and Limerick and Tipperary who have easy access into Cork. So we're going to be so for each of the counties across the Wild Atlantic Way, we're going to be geo-targeting our messages to the parts of the country most likely to travel to that county. And so for every county, there'll be a digital marketing campaign. And then for some counties, it'll be kind of we'll then focus on video, on NAV, and for other counties, we're going to be focusing on print, both national print and also local print, in order to bring that richness of what the destination has to offer to life. So it's really exciting as regards that. I think it's the first time we've ever gone to that depth of richness of content across different media, geo-targeted the people most likely to travel to that particular county for a short break. So that all starts now in kind of this month. So it's very exciting. Other support as well as that campaign is we do, as you know, an awful lot of PR and influencers, etc. So Ross Purcell, who's been a particularly great kind of supporter of domestic holidays now over the last number of years, continues to be one of our key people that we use. And what's interesting about her is that she actually works really well both north and south of the border, and so we can use her particularly for the northern counties on the Wild Atlantic Way with easier access from the Northern Ireland to promote. And as part of our working with her and our working with Virgin Media as one of our media partners, you'll be seeing people like Roz on shows like 6 o'clock show, talking about travel, talking about the great places to visit now in the off season, talking about the great place, just the fun you have when you get away to a break here in Ireland and across the Wild Atlantic Way. And supporting Roz, we have a number of other influencers from Greg O'Shea to Cara Mullen and Sarah Hanahan, again, who who we use both for their own media and then also through traditional media as they produce articles for different media channels, all promoting different destinations, great experiences that they can have across the Wide Atlantic Way and actually across the wider nation. And the other thing we do, obviously, in that kind of media PR pieces, you would have seen this in lots of the weekend papers and weekend magazines, lots of articles about travel, about places to go. And actually, we do an awful lot of that work in the background at Fulch Ireland, supporting those journalists with ideas, with visuals, with copy, with the introductions to people to talk to, so that they can write some really great and really insightful articles about places to go for couples, or places to go for pampering, or places to go for families, etc. And so we'll continue to work and deliver some great content, promoting lots of different destinations around the country through those channels. And the other piece of kind of new news we're launching now this month is actually a new Keep Discovering planner. And the idea behind this is, as I said, we do know that people are often struggle about actually not quite sure where to go and what to do around Ireland. So using our Discover Ireland website as the kind of for content, we're going to be setting up this planner where people can contact us, fill out, answer a short number of questions, gives a sense of what they're looking for, and then we will email them back a personalised email with suggestions and recommendations of great places to kind of go and things to do from across the country, all being driven by the Discover Ireland website as the kind of content that we will be sharing. So that hopefully makes it much easier for people and gives people some real concrete ideas of great things to do over the next few months. And actually, speaking of Discover Ireland, as you may know, we built a site there just over a year ago or so, and already this year we've got about 1.5 million visits. So what's that? 8 months, we've had 1.5 million visits from domestic consumers to the website. And really, more importantly, though, we've actually delivered 222,000 industry referrals. What that is we're always trying to get people into the website so we can showcase lots of great places to see, great destinations and lots of things to see and do. But once we think they're interested in a location, we're then trying to get them off the website, literally into your booking engine or onto your website, because that's ultimately where they're going to make the sale. So we quantify that. We call them industry referrals, because how many people do we send directly to an individual tourism business, whether it's your booking engine or your website? And 222,000 in 8 months has been fantastic. The number will continue to try and grow and focus on, because we know it has such an important impact on your business, and to be honest, on your cash register, turning it over and getting those bookings in. I suppose, speaking of supporting you to try and help you kind of get that cash register moving, we also have updated our Keep Discovering industry toolkit, and again, what we've added to it is more visuals, particularly kind of autumnal visuals and different social frames that can be used. There's really there to be a very easy to use templates that you can just download and edit to suit your business, your message, and make it as easy for you to do your own sales and marketing as we can. Because ultimately, as in what we're here trying to do in this and everything we've talked about so far is to try and help get people thinking more about taking a holiday in Ireland, and help think more about the destinations and the great locations across the Wide Atlantic in particular that they can travel to. So we say to you is, listen, do focus on this opportunity now in the off season. Download that toolkit to kind of get some great ideas for your own websites, your own social media, and Facebook, etc. Update your visuals. So if you're still showing people sunbathing and the wonderful beaches, maybe show now people more walking or hiking, or have been sitting in front of a cozy fire as we get into the kind of the change of weather. Think about making sure you've got a nice range of pictures in both of young people and groups of friends, as well as families, older couples, etc. Because we do know, as I mentioned, that Wide Atlantic Way is appealing to so many different types of consumers. So, but they all love to see themselves in the imagery you use. So do use a range of different imagery. And of course, think about those offers. Now's the time for midweek offers. Think of the over 45 pluses, that kind of audience, and what might help them to come along. It's not only about price. It's not about having the cheapest price, but it's about value. So what can you offer, beyond for midweek, beyond just reduction price? Whether it be a meal, a bottle of wine, maybe kind of free bike hire, whatever it might be that makes that midweek offer special, that will encourage people to make that final booking. And again, across all your activity, do please remember to use the kind of hashtag Keep Discovering. It means that we're tagged, which means we can then retag you. We can have promotion, share your content through our channels as well. So that's a great way to help you reach a greater audience by keeping us kind of in that loop. But folks, listen, thanks so much again for taking time. I've covered up the marketing side of it, as some of the campaigns we're doing. The other part of it, of course, is the sales side of it. And we work with some fantastic partners, from SuperValues to Expedia, etc., as regards giving you kind of sales platforms in order for you to help convert this intention into hard cash. So to actually bring you through some of the new opportunities through sales promotion with my colleague Martin Connolly. So I'm going to pass over to Martin. In the meantime, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you found it really useful, and hopefully see you. I'll get a chance to see and meet many of you over the next number of months as you travel around and meet the industry. But now over to you, Martin. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Niall, and hello everyone. When I presented to you on our 2021 domestic sales campaign back in May, I provided quite a lot of detail about what is a 1.1 million campaign running in parallel to the Keep Discovering activity over a 7-month period, starting on the 24th of May. So at that particular point, I went into quite a lot of detail about the different partners and what they did and how they did it. And although I'm not going to do that just today, I did want to emphasize the fact that in choosing the 6 distribution partners that we did at that particular time, namely Expedia, TripAdvisor, WinWin, DigiBreaks, Hotels & One, The Taste, and Golden Ireland, it gave you access to over 13 different platforms and over 8 million consumers. So as I say, I'm not going into the detail about each of the partners at this particular point, but I will give you a reference to how to get involved in the campaign through our campaign toolkit just at the end of my presentation. But I did want to say that we have extended the partners and included companies like Pigs Back. And that means our campaign now will have a reach of over 10 million consumers, and the number of platforms has risen to 15 during the next phase of the campaign. So the campaign to date looks like this. We had a target of 11 million incremental sales, and we've already reached 6.9 million in revenue, equating to 21,063 bookings and 69,000 over 69,000 incremental bed nights. To date, of course, we have focused on what our research indicated were the most challenged areas in terms of bookings for the summer, the urban centres of Dublin, for example. And we led out with messaging about Dublin in the early weeks and slowly introduced messaging and communications and experiences and product for Cork, Limerick and Waterford over the following weeks. So given that we've focused so much on those 4 urban centres, we're absolutely delighted with the fact that we have delivered so many bookings, over 21,000 of them during the campaign to this particular point. So for the next phase, we're essentially going national, retaining our Keep Discovering messaging and also bringing in all 4 programme brands, Ireland's Ancient East, Ireland's Hidden Heartlands, the Wild Atlantic Way, and indeed Dublin in terms of our creatives and communications and indeed offering. And just as I show you some of the creatives we've developed so far, I just wanted to give you an indication as to the customer journey now, the fact that we have increased the reach of the campaign right across the country and right across those 4 programme brands. And if, for example, a customer clicks on the Expedia platform and indeed they have 1.3 million unique visitors a month, customers will be targeted with branded ads aligned to our messaging, and the ad will take you through to a specific programme landing page. And in that landing page, you will obviously have images of the programme area, some editorial about the programme area, brand video, and of course we will have integrated into that particular landing page all the accommodation, activities, attractions, offers right onto that landing page. So a slightly different customer journey, but a much broader reach in terms of our ability to load stock right across the country from each of the programme brands now. So just as I click on to our how to get involved piece, I just did want to finally say that, we have created this campaign toolkit We had it created for the 24th of May, but we've updated with all the details of our new partners. From that campaign toolkit, you'll be able to have all the contact details for all the different platforms we're using. There will be details of key account managers, and those people will, of course, be important in ensuring that you communicate with them about what offers works best on their particular platforms, and make sure you put up the right offer to maximize the potential for driving sales through that offer. And just as I let you see what that campaign toolkit looks like, I did want to, I suppose, re-emphasize a couple of points. You know, we have introduced companies like Pigs back into the campaign. It does give us a reach now of over 10 million consumers. But the reality is the 10 million consumers will be reached just through one swathe of activity during any point in this campaign. The reality of it is we will be communicating constantly with those 10 million consumers right across the campaign. And just to give you an example of a week of activity, SuperValu Getaway Breaks will have an e-zine going out to 725,000 people on their database. They will have radio ads right across their 222 stores nationwide. Today FM Breaks will have 25 slots a day promoting our Keep Discovering messaging again. Taste.ie will have daily social media posts driving consumers to their website, where they have over 1.1 million unique Irish readers every month. And for example, Irish Mini Breaks will have daily communications going out across various platforms, including Red FM Breaks, Little Breaks, and 123.ie. So a huge opportunity to constantly communicate within those 10 million. And the messaging will be actually going out to many multiples of those 10 million over the period of the campaign. So that would leave me just to, first of all, encourage everyone to get involved. I hope the figures to date, the results to date, have shown you the value in being involved in the campaign. We've been very successful so far. We certainly feel we will continue to be successful right through to the end of the campaign now. And I wish you the very best luck in your engagement with each of the platforms and in driving incremental sales during the campaign. And with that, I'll hand you back to Miriam.
Thanks, Niall and Martin, and thanks to all of you for joining us. If you'd like to know more or you have any questions, the Wild Atlantic Way team is of course available to you. Just give us a ring. And we'll also be coming in to speak to all of our tourism networks on what we're doing at a county level over the next 2 weeks. So I look forward to seeing you all soon. Gur Mial Maggie.